Initially, I didn't know about industrial engineering. I wanted to do mechanical engineering.
Completing a university degree is a challenge on its own. Now imagine doing it while also working a hands-on apprenticeship in the industry. That's exactly what Potsa did. While studying industrial engineering, he was also sharpening his skills on the factory floor at Delta Corporation, managing both worlds, day in and day out. In this episode, we uncover how he made it work, the lessons he learned, and the message he has for anyone walking the same path. This is his story.
So, to start off with our podcast, can you briefly introduce yourself? Like what you are doing currently and where you did your education?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Murairo. It's an honor to join your show, your podcast. Yeah, so my name is Potsa, and I'm a recent graduate in industrial engineering. I studied at the University of Zimbabwe, and I graduated last year. And currently, I'm an apprentice in instrumentation and control for Swift Zimbabwe Limited. So I think.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Potsa. So, Mr. Potsa, can you tell us what inspired you to study industrial engineering, especially at the University of Zimbabwe? Because I'm sure you were the first group to study industrial engineering, right?
Yeah. Okay, so initially I didn't know about industrial engineering. I wanted to do mechanical engineering. So what happened is when they introduced the new programs, there was a mismatch during the applications, and people were supposed to do a reapplication, and then I didn't have enough information. I didn't know that we were supposed to reapply. So I ended up being thrown to industrial engineering without my approval. So that's when I started doing a little bit some research into the program, and then that's when I learned that it was being offered at National University of Science and Technology and HIT, and I sort of grew a liking with the program because it touched many aspects of engineering that I was interested in. For example, data science, machine learning, the engineering management aspect mostly. Yeah, so that's how I ended up doing industrial engineering. I wouldn't say I had a passion for it or something, but that's how I ended up doing it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Potsa. So you mentioned that you are also doing an apprenticeship at Schweppes Zimbabwe Limited. So if you are currently doing it now, that means you started your apprenticeship while at least you were doing your degree, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So what motivated you to take both courses, like the university course and the apprenticeship simultaneously?
Okay, so the motivation behind me doing the apprenticeship and the degree program, I started when I was in A level. So before applying for the University of Zimbabwe, I had applied for the apprenticeship in Delta Beverages. But the only thing that was happening is I couldn't find a placement. So I kept on applying soon after, even when I was in A level. And when the opportunity came for me to start the apprenticeship, I was already enrolled at the University of Zimbabwe. So I had no choice. I just had to do it. And the motivation was so that I can at least gain some industrial expertise before I graduate, or so that I at least know the technical side of engineering instead of the theoretical side of engineering, sort of. So that's one of the main reasons why I did it. I just wanted to gain more technical experience to live up to the name of being an engineer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Potsa. So do you have an exact number for the number of times you applied for the apprenticeship?
Yeah, I applied for, I would say, 4 companies. At first, I applied for Delta Beverages. And it failed. I applied again for Zesa. it failed. I applied again for Delta, and then I called for the psychometric test, and then it failed. And then when I was in part 2, as the year was about to end, that's when I got an apprenticeship with Shop Zimbabwe Limited. So
Okay, Mr. Paul. Okay, so one thing I have noticed is that most students really struggle with one degree, just one degree. So, Mr. Potsa, how did you manage your time between UZ commitments and apprenticeship responsibilities?
okay, so first of all, I would say my communication skills with my supervisors was one of the things that contributed to me being able to complete both the degree and to do the apprenticeship. So I wouldn't say I was lucky enough. I would say grace found me, and I found favor in front of my supervisors at work, and it wasn't that difficult for me to communicate with them. They understood me when I said I would like to go for my school. I have in class, I have this. So they would allow me to just sneak through work and then rush to Copacabana, to Market Square, then to Zende, and then I go to school. So what contributed to that, I would say, being able to communicate with my supervisors well helped me to be able to manage. And also during my induction training at Delta Beverages, the Delta Technical Institute, these days they now actually advise their apprentices to take on degree programs. So they were saying our vision for the future is now the minimum requirements for you to be able to do an apprenticeship is you need an A-level certificate. Soon we would require a national certificate for you to be able to do an apprenticeship. Then in the coming years we'll be requiring a higher national diploma for you to be able to do an apprenticeship. We can even get up to a degree. You need a degree for you to be able to do what? The apprenticeship program. So that's the vision that they had at the Delta Technical Institute. So when I heard them tell us that during induction, I was happy, and then I had to walk to them and say, I'm also doing this and that. And then they just said, you simply have to communicate, and then as long as you can manage the pressure, you have to you do it. So I would say being able to communicate with the guys and my supervisors, they were supportive of what I was doing.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Paul. So the issue of communication, that's on the side of your apprenticeship supervisors, right? What about on the side of the UZ lecturers?
Yeah.
How did they take it on your absence in their lectures? So how did you communicate that to them?
Okay, so what I would do first, whenever we had a new module, I would have to walk up to my lecturer at times, and then I would explain my situation to them. So depending on the level of understanding of the lecturer, I remember going to, what's his name? I remember going to Engineer Waringesu. I explained to him my story, telling him that I'm doing this program with Delta Beverages. Then I have to go up and down, what and what. He just said, if I have an in-class or a presentation, I would require you to be in class. Besides that, whatever that you do, just make sure you manage it and you don't fail my courses. So to me, it was, he capacitated me to do so. So I would say communication skills again with my lecturer, because at times you need to go and explain yourself. There's no need to hide that I'm doing this apprenticeship, and then there's something that you need from the lecturer and then you hide it. It doesn't work like that. So I would say communication again. Then I remember I also went to the other senior lecturers, and then I explained to them that I'm doing an apprenticeship at the same time while I'm at the University of Zimbabwe. One lecturer said to me, do you know that is not allowed by the institute? You need to be, you need to specialize. You need to choose one direction, not to choose two directions. So that's when I realized I had gone to the wrong person. So I just had to go and find another guy to explain again, and then until I I found someone who actually understood me. So
Okay,
that's all.
thank you, Mr. Potts. So between the apprenticeship and the degree program, which side would you say was more demanding?
Uh, both was demanding. I don't want to lie. It was very demanding. It was very demanding, especially working with artisans at the plant. They don't understand the pressures that arise at school, and some of them they would view you as competition, like uda kukura musoro. So it was the pressure was too much from the apprenticeship side. So they wouldn't sometimes the guys that I worked with, they wouldn't understand that this person at night he has to go back to school and study and do this and that. But I think I was just resilient enough. I tend to forget what stresses me. So I actually forgot how it happened, so that it's a stress management tactic, so that I don't I don't get stressed enough, because trust me, it was very stressful. So I would say the pressure was too much from work. At one time I had to just leave everything at work and then just ask my colleague to stand in place for me while I go. My supervisor didn't know that, but I had to rush to school because there was a presentation there, and I felt like the nyanyo kukumbira sterek. You reach that point where your supervisor is understanding, but at the same time it's now overwhelming for him that I'm just letting this guy go. And this, so at school the lecturers would understand, but at work, I was also scared of losing my work because I invested too much into it. So the pressure, I would say, it was too high from work.
So did you ever feel like one side was affecting performance on the other side?
Yes, yeah. Especially, I would say the apprenticeship program was derailing me for my schoolwork. So yeah, work was always demanding more than, because we had to cover. Imagine we start work at 7. At one time I was saying in the University of Zimbabwe, NC2, so work starts at 5:45. So by 5:30 you need to be at the workplace. So you'd wake up at 5:30, and then you go to the showers, you bath, and then you'd walk to the terminus, you go, and then you then go to work. By 6:30 you'll be at work, and then you start working online, asking other guys, what are you doing at school? What assignments were due? What are you supposed to do? And then when you come back to school, it will already be late. Normally we would work 7 to 5, and at times we were supposed to work 7 to 7 shifts. So imagine going out at 5:30 and then coming back at 8. You would completely forget about school and then just let things flow. So yeah, school was giving pressure. Work was pressurizing me on school, and I think, yeah, I think you understand.
Yeah, I understand. So what differences did you notice between the theory taught at school and the practical work at Schweppes?
Okay, so I would say there is not much. The only difference is, have you ever heard about design and make?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
So I would say the university only do the design, but at work you do the design and you do the work also. So at school you'd learn about something, right? But then you wouldn't actually implement it. But at work, you then understand that at work, theories don't work, like they don't apply, because you'll be working against a certain target. So if you don't think outside the box, you'll be in trouble. Trust me, you'll be in trouble. So you actually have to know when not to apply your theories when you're at work, and that's 80% of the time at work is you thinking outside the box instead of you using the theory. So yeah, it shows, I would say, we were more practical. Like, we are talking about the real deal here. People need mazo, and you're saying, hey, theory, this theory according to that, this application, this superheat, this temperature, what, it doesn't work that way. You need to be an engineer. You need to think, you need to be someone who works technically. Yeah, I would say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Paul. What about in terms of technological advancements? Would you say the stuff being taught at school is what's currently available right now in the industries?
Yeah, it's available. Like most of our companies here, especially manufacturing companies, they are upgrading their lines. They are upgrading their machines. Like they are buying the latest machines from Germany, from Coles and KHS, So most of the technology that we learn, for example, robotics, you can learn about a robotic arm and then you walk in Delta, and then you can find the robot actually doing the work. So what we are learning in school is actually being implemented in some of the industries. For example, at Schweppes, we have robot palletizers, we have IoT devices, remote monitoring, preventative maintenance stuff. We have some of those stuffs. And what we learn at school, if you are passionate about what you're learning at school and then you want to find it in industry, you can actually find it if you join the right industry. That's what I can say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Potts. So, how important do you think it is for engineering students to get hands-on industry experience?
Okay, I would say hands-on skills. Let me start with being knowledgeable with the degree stuff, what you learn, thermodynamics and stuff, engineering management. It's important, like it's actually good, but realize that students who come to the industry with that knowledge only from the university, they tend to develop a dependency syndrome to the extent that they are actually not confident in themselves. They come to work, right? They learn about the structures at work, and at times there are people from university, they are quickly removed from the technical aspect of engineering and thrown into management. So when you take a person from university and then you simply brief them about the technical side for maybe 2 months, and then you put them on the computer Excel sheet, then they do planning, they do that stuff, and the kind of stuff that other cheese and most of the guys do. It's actually, what would I say, you are injuring the student, I would say, because they might not be confident enough to move from one company to another company, because the skills that you'll be doing on the computer, if we take anyone right now and then we teach them the how to use Excel, how to guess when to do the next maintenance or to what, they can simply do it. But you can't just take someone from the street and tell them, make this machine to produce 2,000 bottles an hour or 100 bottles a second. You can't do that. So what I would say is technical skills, they are important, especially when you want to get relevant, when you want to be seen in the industry. You need to produce results, and also for your personal confidence. If you want to get outside the country, you can't get outside the country and tell them I'm an engineer, and they ask you, what do you do, what have you done? Then you tell them I've been doing this and that using Excel. But you need to tell them that I've been doing this, I can fix this machine. If this happens, I can design this, and then I can maybe 3D print this. I can use a lathe machine to design this. You need to be a problem solver instead of just someone who implements the solution. So I think that's the gap there, and that's why we say technical skills are important. Imagine working with a whole bunch of artisans. They have 20 years experience working in the technical field, and then you're supposed to manage someone who knows better than you. So the best way you can manage that person is if and only if you yourself know what he knows. So I would say technical skills are important in industry. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Potter. That was quite resourceful. So may you explain, how did you stay motivated when things got overwhelming?
The answer to that was At times I just learned to relax, when things are too much. Like, I remember talking with my colleagues. They were asking me how you manage this and that. And then I was saying, guys, if I fail at school, then it means school wasn't meant for me. If I fail at work, then work wasn't meant for me. Like, if you fire me from work, then I will know that this thing wasn't for me. So that's how I handled my stresses. Like, if you fire me from work, then work, that place wasn't for me. If I fail school, then it means school wasn't for me. So I then learn how to relax, like let life or let things happen the way that they should just happen. So I would say I just learned how to relax.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Potsa. So, Mr. Potsa, do you think having an apprenticeship on your CV will definitely give you an edge in the job market?
Yeah. Our job market is a bit tricky. It's about who you know, like who you know and who knows. Basing on the industries that I've looked into, I would say I have an edge into getting employment.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Potsa. So, is there any type of advice you would give to other students who are considering a similar path?
Yeah, for those that are considering the similar path, I would say keep on working. Also, don't lose yourself while at least you are pursuing the dream, or at least you are working so hard. So I would say it's something that it's worth it at the end of the day. You feel good about yourself, but the most important thing is know what you want. You don't just have to go do an apprenticeship program, which is completely different from your degree program. You need to match your interests. They need to be something like that. So my recommendation is keep on working hard. And for those that are not willing to take the path, I would say develop as many skills as you can. Like, you need to be skillful. There are a lot of skills that an engineer from the University of Zimbabwe can actually do. In some of the skills, you don't need to do an apprenticeship for you to be an engineer, right? You can actually learn some skills, a lot of programming skills. You can do a lot of things and stand a chance to compete in the industry. So it applies for both. If you are not interested in this, then advance your skills, learn a skill, do something for yourself that you can actually offer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Potsa. So to close off, I'm going to ask you 2 questions because our time is running out. So the first question is, are there any misconceptions about apprenticeships that you'd like to correct? And also, if you had the chance to go back, would you still take the same route?
Okay, so your first question was, are there any misconceptions about apprentices that I wouldn't like? I would say, yeah, I remember one time when we were in class, then we in a lesson with engineer wiring, so we mixed the mechanical guys and industrial guys. And then I remember a certain guy raising his hand. There was a competition about the difference between a guy who does his education at the Polytechnical College and the guy who learns at University of Zimbabwe. And then one guy had to say, we are supposed to go and manage the guys from the Polytechnic. I don't think if you remember that, but that's how it came off. So to me, I would say not all guys that study at Polytechnic are actually dumb. They might actually give you knowledge. And most apprentices, they train at the Polytechnic College. And you being at the University of Zimbabwe doesn't mean that you are superior to the guys at the Polytechnic College. You can actually learn a lot from those guys. And I think that's the only misconception that I would like to clear. They also know their stuff. And then to answer your last question, if I was asked to the honest truth is, I would think twice. I think I would take a different route. It wasn't easy. as I told you earlier, that I had to forget what I had to go through. It's not easy doing full-time unless it was part-time. So do it, but just know that you need to. For me, I would choose another route. I would choose another route, and then I would start from there. But it's something that is worth it. I've done it. You can also do it. So.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
That's
Potsa.
my answer.
And finally, where do you see yourself heading in the next few years? And how has this foundation helped shape that path?
Okay, so in the next few years, my interests now lie in industrial automation. I see myself being one of the best industrial automation engineers in the country. This foundation is shaped that in a way there are some certain projects that I was exposed to during my apprenticeship program. For example, installation of new manufacturing lines. During installation, we would work with some engineers from all over the country, some engineers from Germany, some from Russia, some from South Africa. So what happened is I learned some skills. For example, PLC programming. I learned PLC programming from the engineers that I worked with during projects at Schweppes. So now my interest is in industrial automation. So I think my path as of now, I'm following the industrial automation path, and I would like to see how that goes. And you see, I think that's all.
Okay, we have reached the end of our podcast. So, Mr. Potsa, I would like to thank you for taking your time to attend this podcast. So, anything you would like to say to our YouTube viewers, especially in terms of subscribing? Anything you would like to say?
Yeah, I remember when we were in school, we used to laugh at ourselves that when we finish our program, you have to start your YouTube channel, and then you'll be saying, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I would say that again. Don't forget to support us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So I think that's all, guys.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Potsa, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, sir.